guys. So today I'm going to be talking about easily comprehensible principles in homeopathy. So, what do I mean by that, or why do I want to talk about that? It's because these things, easily comprehensible principles, are stressed by the founder of homeopathy in his book, The Organon, right? The Organon is the Bible of homeopathy. It's the book of the founder. You have to stick to those rules that he laid out in there. So let's take a look at it, right? We have aphorism number 2. The book is divided into aphorisms, or like paragraphs. And let's just read it, right? Let's jump into it and let's read this thing. Aphorism number 2. The highest ideal of cure is rapid, gentle, and permanent restoration of the health, or removal and annihilation of the disease in its whole extent, in the shortest, most reliable, and most harmless way, on easily comprehensible principles. Interesting, right? Interesting. So I'll just tell you that nobody cares, nobody gives a damn about this. Unfortunately, I've been saying this in all my videos. Homeopathy was perverted, distorted in the modern age. It's a very, very long story as to why. And people don't practice homeopathy according to the founder, according to what he practiced, which is classical homeopathy. And people are not practicing homeopathy based on easily comprehensible principles. It's very, very easy. If you want to summarize classical homeopathy, it's very, very easy. You give the patient a remedy where the totality of symptoms of the remedy matches the totality of symptoms of the patient. That's it. Okay? That is extremely easily comprehensible. It's not just easily comprehensible. It doesn't just conform to this, like the will of the founder. It conforms to Occam's razor, the simplicity principle. Less is always more. It conforms to the scientific method. It embodies the epitome of the scientific method, because the information we are matching, remedy and patient, come from reality, experimentation in reality. So this embodies the scientific method, Occam's razor, and the will of the founder of homeopathy. That is a beautiful thing. You might not think so if you are a layperson, but if you study homeopathy, you will realize that. Now, as I said, in the modern era, most homeopaths are practicing nonsense. And this is not like the Christian thing. Every Christian sect says they're the only true Christians and everybody else is satanic. This is not that, okay? This is not a cult that I'm trying to push. This is not brainwashing. I am tying it back to the scientific method, simplicity principles, etc. So there is an argument here. I'm not just pushing something for no reason, okay? So if you look at modern homeopathic schools, modern homeopathic cults, let's call them cults, sorry, then you'll see that they do not conform to this and don't conform to this, don't conform to the scientific method, and don't conform to Occam's razor. So, for instance, a lot of modern homeopathy is based on, you know, um, like finding remedies in tables based on the personality of the patient, but like more abstract psychoanalytical characteristics about the patients, like what is their life goal or whatever, stuff like that. And then, um, if your goal is to find love, you are in column number 5. If your goal is to um, climb the corporate ladder, then you are in column number 6. So they have these. The modern homeopaths have. If you ever seen it, I'm trying to describe it, but you might have encountered it before. So they have these tables with abstract mental things, and then they place all the remedies inside. It's kind of like astrology. So they want to make it similar to astrology because that's what's popular. That's what's gonna spark interest. What I'm saying is not going to spark interest. Oh, the scientific method. Nobody gives a shit, right? So, but does that conform to the scientific method? Are those easily comprehensible principles? What is the principle behind that? There is none. We just get gibberish, right? Word salad when we ask, what are the comprehensible principles behind that? Well, if we kind of meditated on this and then we categorize the remedies and we put them in a table. And then they try to, the explanation they give is not easily comprehensible. Definitely not. And it doesn't conform to the scientific method because it's not based on experimentation. It's based on kind of speculation and daydreaming and stuff like that. So, but that's only one example, right? The table thing. People also do the protocols. Sorry, just one more thing that I wanted to say is that they can't explain the principles. They're not easily comprehensible. But the practice becomes very, very simple, dumbed down, like for idiots, for kindergartners. You look in a table and then you cross-reference the table and you got the remedy. That's absolutely dumbed down, the dumbed down version of homeopathy. So the principles become complicated, convoluted, not understandable, and practice becomes oversimplistic. And what you need is the opposite. You need easily comprehensible principles, and then in practice, it becomes complicated as you analyze a patient. That is the correct thing. So nowadays, I don't know if you're getting this, guys. It's very complicated. But nowadays, they're making theory, they're making the principles very, very complicated. So, their customers are going to be mesmerized. Oh my God, it's so philosophical and complicated. Oh, we have the traumas and we psychoanalyze the traumas and we put them in a table and then we meditate on it. The theory becomes nonsensically complicated, no principles, and in practice, you cross-reference in a table in 5 minutes. We want the opposite. We want the opposite of that. We want easily comprehensible, logical principles. We need logic. We need very strong experimentation and simple logic, and complicated practice, analyzing patients. Okay, so the table thing is just one of the forms of perverted homeopathy. It's the Jan Scholten method, the I forgot their name. It's the Yoshi, Yoshis or whatever, Joshis or Yoshis. I don't know. They're an Indian couple, and they added more psychoanalytic stuff to their to the tables of Jan Schulten, whatever. So there are many other forms of modern false homeopathy. I can't list them all, but you can look into it. There's the protocols, Banerjee protocols. There's the sensation method. There's detox. There's also shamanic homeopathy. These are all nonsense, okay? Because they do not have easily comprehensible principles. When you ask about the principles, all you get is nonsense. Look into it. I urge everyone to look into it, and you will see it's all nonsense. When you ask them about the principles, there are no principles. Okay, and in practice, you cross-reference a table, or there's a protocol, right? So if you prescribe homeopathy according to a protocol in 5 minutes, then it's the reverse of what we want, right? Again, a oversimplistic practice, but the principles and the theory is convoluted because they can't explain why protocols are great, why the Banerjee protocols are great. I mean, I can even give you, an example, I might just put, squeeze this into the end of this video. Like, here's an example of a Banerjee protocol person, right? Explaining the Banerjee protocols, and it's complete nonsense, right? Myth number 1, Banerjee protocols are not homeopathic because they're not individual to the person. I'm afraid to say that for this to be accurate, we would have to disregard all clinical experience. In order to understand homeopathic remedy, you really need to understand the disease process. That's why homeopaths recommend arnica for bruises. So let's be honest here. In our Materia Medica, there are approximately 3,000 recognized homeopathic remedies, yet in practical application, we may only be familiar with 5% of these remedies. So how true is that when you go see homeopathy, you're individualizing the remedy? So she's making up excuses. I don't want to say who this is, but there is no, as you can see, there are no principles. You can read this whole thing. ChristinaVillacorta.com. And this page goes on for pages and pages and pages. And you can read this whole thing and you will find out that there are no principles, okay? It's just a big truckload of word salad and gibberish. So that's it for today, guys. Stick to classical homeopathy, and I'm available for consultations. You can get in touch with me on Telegram, which you can find here, right over here. Thanks everyone, and take care.